We want to welcome two of the Republican candidates for mayor, Philip Malestina and Bill Deriff. Philip Malestina won the draw and will go first today with opening statements. Philip, thank you for being here. Please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you to League of Women Voters and to WLKY for having us in this afternoon. My name is Philip Malestina. I'm running for mayor because many things in the city are broken, and we don't need more plans. We need action. The action that I am offering to you is I'm a leader that's doing the work now. I've been doing the work of business, doing the work of working in the community for the last 40 years. Most important, the work I've been doing is working with families, working with individuals, working with them to look for jobs, looking for them to provide housing, looking to work with them also to do work in terms of their education. So what we need today in this election is a vote for a mayor that's a leader, not someone that just has plans. My ability that I have is to work with white-collar and blue-collar individuals, and I'm thankful for the opportunity this evening to be able to share more about my campaign. Thank you.
Mr. Malestina, thank you. And now on to Bill Deriff for your opening statement.
Thank you for having me today with WLKY and League of Women Voters. We are at a crossing point of this city. As the mayor of the city of Jeffersontown, I have led a city for 12 years successfully, both in policing, public works, parks, all facets of the city. And I look forward to bring the pride back to Louisville that we so deserve, to bring the safety back to Louisville that we so deserve. So Louisville is a city that should be the leader. I am tired of people saying that we should follow other cities. It's time for us to be the leader in the future where we want the city to go, what we want the city to be. Let's take what they have and make it better and make Louisville the city where you want your grandkids to grow up. My vision is I'm doing this because of our grandkids. I want our grandkids to stay here, live here, work here, and enjoy a community that we all can say, this is my home. As you look out across the United States and a friend asks you, where do you want to live? I want you to be able to have enough pride in Louisville to say, this is where we want to be. So on January 1,
all right, Mr. Deriff, thank you so much for your opening statement. We will start with you for our first question today. How will you address the issues related to housing in Louisville, in particular, affordable housing, gentrification, and zoning?
So as we look to the future of housing shortage, there's over 30,000 shortages of housing units in this facility in Louisville. First thing we have to look at is ownership of housing. So many times we look into rental, which is good, but the housing that somebody owns, they get generational wealth. They grow in that house, and we have to look to where the house is not only the starter house, we have the second house and the third house, so they can grow in the community they're in. And as we do what needs to be done as far as housing, we need to look across the county and see where it's best placed to where they have the ability to have the facilities, whether it's a grocery store, a gas station, government services. We should plan appropriately where they should be and look to where zoning can change to where they can be.
And now, Mr. Malestina, will ask you the same question.
This question is something that we have talked about so much in these forums, and the focus is always on how many homes that we need, the money that's needed. And that's important. The city has plans to do that. The city has funds to do that. Unfortunately, the funds they have to do that is very limited. What we need to do is work to make those units that we need to make, work with developers that are in town, that have affordable housing. But the important part we need to look at is the root cause. We need to look to see why do people need affordable housing? It's because their income levels are levels that demand them to have that type of housing. So what we need to do as a city government, what we need to do in our community is work towards the investment in the neighborhoods, in the people, in the individuals that are in those cases where they need this type of help. We should be a city that in the future has less and less need of affordable housing because we have brought up the wages and we have brought up the opportunities of people to live here. Thank you, Rod.
All right, thank you, Mr. Malestina. We will start with you for question number 2, which is, we cannot incarcerate our way out of social problems, crime, violence, drugs, mental illness, among many. What is your plan to address these issues?
The problem that we have right now, again, comes from what happens in our neighborhoods. Recently, a study that I was looking at said a question, a very important question. It posed a question saying, what makes the difference where people in their life will have a different outcome? And what I found out, and we've seen this many times again, is that what makes the outcome is where people live, who they're surrounded by, who their neighbors are, who their friends are. And right now we have a city that in one side has things where people, you can say, everything is fine. But we also have a city that has areas where people do not have the opportunities, do not have the relationships, do not have the income, do not experience the benefits that the city has for all of us. So what we need to do is look at our city to say, what we want to do is work with the communities that are in need, because in the communities in need is where the problems arise that we're talking about in this question, that demand people sometimes to do things they're not supposed to. Let's attack the problem by giving the communities the resources and funding that they need.
And now, Mr. Dearf, you have the opportunity to answer that same question.
So as we look to who is incarcerated, we have to go to the people that we should not incarcerate. And in Jeffersontown, 7 years ago, we started the Angel program. For those people that are addicted, you can stop in our police department with your paraphernalia, with your drugs, and we have over 300 locations nationwide to help you. So rather than incarcerate those people that have addiction problems, because we're all one surgery away of possibly being addicted. These people aren't criminals, they need help. So before they get this chance to have to do a crime, let's help those people. We in Jeffersontown have already started that. That Angel program will come downtown. We also have to quit incarcerating those that need the behavioral help. Those people should have the help to where we have in J-Town, we have social workers that actually reach out and help the people ahead of time to make sure they do not perform the crimes in the future. And then we need to get serious on the crimes of the people that are the cartel leaders and the gang leaders. And let's get them off the street so our younger generation has the ability to grow up to be a productive citizen in our community.
Thank you so much. And for our third question, we will start with candidate Dearf. This question is, turning to the economy, what is your plan to spur economic growth and development in Louisville, especially in downtown Louisville?
So that as a sitting mayor, I'm not waiting till January 1st to do something. J-Town is the 6th largest city during the daytime because we have the largest commerce park in the state. We started back during the beginning of the pandemic of planning for what it looks like in the future, and our park is 98.4% full. We can do that downtown Louisville. We can do this county-wide because there is a huge plant that's getting built right outside E-Town. And those people have a choice, the vendors have a choice of going to Nashville or going to Louisville. If you have a person that understands economic development that I do, they will come to Louisville and build. We have the businesses here that we can grow. We have the business here that we can attract, and we become the community where everybody wants to be. As a leader of Jeffersontown, we have changed economic development in many ways. We have reached out to the state to change the ordinances in order to make it more business friendly. We have reached out for the businesses that need help. And we understand when to help a business and when to get out of the way. So when we look at economic development, we have to look at what it means to be a leader and not be in the way of the business.
All right, and that concludes your minute. Candidate Molestina, you have the opportunity to answer this same question.
The economy, we know that grows based on the number of people are working. One of the things that I have a huge interest in as a candidate is why there's so many jobs that are available and what are the barriers that we have that people do not take those jobs. We have jobs, we have companies that have openings in a variety of sectors, but the problem that we have is people are not working. And that's the thing, the first thing a mayor needs to do is to identify what are the things holding back people to get to the jobs. Is it transportation? Is it a little bit more education? Is it a little bit more skills? What are those things that are holding them back? Because that's the first step to do. The second thing also is to look at programs that exist. Right now, Goodwill through the JCTC has programs where they're helping young people to train for jobs. When I spoke with the person that leads that program, they said we only have 20% participation. That's a problem. My goal is that, just as we have developed Nulu for restaurants and business, I wanted to go beyond 9th Street and develop something that's called Tech Loop, for lack of better words. Bring technology jobs to our city.
All right, and that concludes your minute. Thank you. We'll begin with you for question number 4, which is, what will you do to help West Louisville become a more vital part of Louisville?
The most important part with West Louisville is 2 things. West Louisville needs investment. West Louisville needs jobs. West Louisville needs to be looked on in our city as not, as many people know, just ends at 9th Street. We need to be a city at this point in time that looks at a population that wants to work, that wants opportunities. And that's why, as I said in the previous question, I want to bring tech jobs to cities in our part of the city that needs jobs. Because what's going to happen there is those jobs that are tech jobs Not everybody's going to be able to perhaps get to them at the first level, but when we start bringing that into the community, what we're going to find is we're going to have opportunities for wealth to increase. And when wealth increases, then also people have the opportunity to have better properties, better homes. So it starts at those levels. We can talk a lot about jobs. We have to talk about the people and what they need to get those jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, candidate Dearf, your turn for that same question.
The first thing government should do is investing in West Louisville is let West Louisville decide how the investment is looked at in the future. Rather than government take the money and decide what it should be done in the West Louisville, let's let West Louisville, whether it's the nonprofit, the churches, or groups in the West Louisville, decide what needs to be done there. Let's take the dollar that we give them and not spend it all in Metro. Let's spend it in West Louisville where it should be spent. But we also have a problem in West Louisville. In order to do the technology we need, there's a digital divide that is huge in West Louisville. I was part of the Bingham Fellows that started the digital divide solution. We started a coalition of 80 different members to bring the digital connection down to the West End, because during the pandemic we saw, in order to get medical, in order to even know there was a job out there, in order to even work at a job, we have to have the ability to have the digital connection in the West End. So both investment, allow the people in the West End to decide how the investment should best be done, and give them the digital technology that they need to succeed in future life.
All right. Thank you so much, candidate Dearf. Our fifth and final question today, we will begin with you. The pandemic impacted Louisville in many ways, not just the public health, but also financially and culturally. Coming out of this difficult time, what is your priority for moving Louisville forward?
To move Louisville forward, we have to bring the pride back to the community. Just 2 weeks ago in Jeffersontown, I realized that people don't know people, and we started a Culture Fest. And with the Culture Fest, everybody came out on a Saturday and got to know the different cultures, whether there was dance, food, or just the belief in what the other people were doing. If we get to know each other, we get to have pride in the community, and we become one community. We have to make this a unified community if we're going to try to get other people to come here. If we're fighting amongst ourselves, people won't be here. As mayor, the pride starts with the way the city looks. We have to make sure the city looks and both help the homeless, don't move the homeless, but help the homeless to where they have solutions and become part of our future life, and make downtown look like a place to where everybody wants to come. But not only downtown, the one thing we haven't done during this merger is we haven't merged all the people in all the different communities we have across Jefferson County. We need to be able to say, this is our community, and I'm proud to have the next people move here and work here, live here, and play here.
And now, Mr. Molestini, your chance to answer our final question.
The pandemic did something that many of us probably didn't realize. What it did was uncover things that were on the surface to be come to light. The pandemic showed us that we have a lot of issues to resolve, whether it be in jobs, whether it be in healthcare, whether it be in social justice. They were just on the border, right there bubbling up, and then the pandemic ended up bringing those to light. So what we need to do as a city is we need to look at this here and adapt, because everything will not go back to being the same. You won't have the downtowns being in certain ways the way they were in the past, but we have to adapt to that. We have to see that we saw some issues in education, differences in people not having access to be able to log in to do the studies they have to do with their children. All those type of things have to be done. I want to take this pandemic time to say there's a lot of buried dreams our city has, and this, as mayor, I'm hoping to revive those dreams in the people of our city that for so long have been waiting for someone to come along and do that just for them. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you. And that concludes our time for questions tonight. We want to thank all of our candidates for joining us this evening.